Man, what a difference a couple of months can make. I just got back from doing another interview. Um, I've got four scheduled over the next 3 days. And, I mentioned there was this other place that tried to offer me a position. I turned it down because I just thought the hours were too excessive. And that's something that I'm kind of similarly feeling with the one I just came back from, where they start at like 10 in the morning and get off at 8 o'clock at night, but then the drive over there is already like an hour because how far away it is. Just different factors that lead me to kind of be a little bit more selective. But I was thinking about this, and I know I recently did the video, It's Impossible to Get a Job. That really just was based off of my experiences from the period of November of last year all the way up until I'd say a few weeks ago, where you'd put in all these applications and you hear nothing back. And I don't know what exactly is happening. I don't know what's causing it, but there seems to be, at least temporarily, I don't know if it's going to last, something of a reversal in the sense that, for example, one of the places that I had an interview with yesterday that wants me to come in for another one, they were stood up by me this past Saturday because their interview was at 8 in the morning. I fell asleep. I tried to stay up for it. I pledged I really did want to go to it. It was a virtual one. But I was just so tired that I passed out. And they rescheduled me for yesterday, which I was able to attend virtually. And I apparently made it to the last interview, which is like the one they do before they, I guess, officially offer you a position. But I find it so interesting that in the last like week or so, there's been like these little subtle hints that something is going on with these places to where they're not getting people. Now, I've always seen now hiring signs. Oh, we need people. We need that little trash that they write on billboards and whatnot. But specifically, just to give some examples, the place that I turned down, the one that I did the two extreme videos on, the two extremes video on rather. I was originally told by them, hey, can you come in at 9 a.m. on whatever day that was. Like, I don't know, the traffic, and I was kind of like reluctant to show up at that time, and then they asked me to instead come at 11, which I obliged and did show up. But that was one of the first clues that they were desperate, because most places they might have at a maximum a few times that you could possibly go in, but if you can't show up at whenever times they want, then they're not going to try to hold your hand or bend the knee as they did in that case. um, but no, it's been so interesting just watching how many of these different jobs are like. I'll put it this way: if you had told me 3 months ago that I would turn down a full-time job uh, that was Monday through Friday and whatever, I would have said yeah, right, because it wouldn't have. Remember, my issue with my job of the last 16 months has been the lack of hours, right? That's always been something that has kind of fluctuated, and over the past, I'd say, third of a year, they've just gone complete just insane, like irredeemable. And I guess the other part of this that's kind of sad is that the time period where I was the most vulnerable and susceptible to seeking out and doing anything for work uh, was late last year, just because of the enormous financial strain I was under. And it's sort of sad to me to know that when I needed employment the most, and a lot of these places I applied to, you know, during that period, they gave me their butt to kiss. They showed no interest, or if they did, it was a cruel joke where you have someone get up for an interview and drive over here or call this number, and just nothing progressed. And I that's why I said, it's in a way it's kind of sad to think about how when you really needed these types of jobs and were willing to work for them, right, to brave the storm, they just weren't there for you. But now that you're kind of like, whatever, oh, here they come. So it's been interesting. Like, and I stand by my belief that jobs are way too difficult to get. A lot of the stuff that's getting offered to me is pretty similar to each other in terms of like either little to no hours are just so many that you don't even have a life outside of working there. Like, I don't know why I have to work 6 days a week, uh, every week. You know, just it's not that appealing to me. But I I'm noticing this trend, and I'm just trying to figure out what is causing it. What's making these places now all of a sudden desire to seemingly hire me. Um, I think part of it is again is desperation. A lot of the people who apply to these jobs probably either don't know how far away they are, how many hours that the place expects them to work, so they're kind of circling the wagon trying to get somebody. Um, Part of it is also maybe the fact that it's the beginning of the year, and you know that might maybe the time of year is when places will hire or not hire somebody. Um, I don't know because most of the places I've worked for, it's either in the summer or the latter part of the year where they, took me on. So, I'm just spitballing here, but the central thing is that for some reason, um, my luck with getting a job, at least in the short term, seems to have severely altered from the way it was a couple of months ago. And right now, I'm fielding through positions. I'm trying to figure out which one seems the most promising in terms of how close it is, the hours that they give, what type of stuff they'll have me doing. Because, like I said, the only thing that I'm really picky about is I would rather not drive a whole hour just to go to work. I feel like the fact that I did that with the other place was a sign of my desperation 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, rather. But now I'm trying to like narrow down the distance between me and a place of employment because I just think there's so much other stuff that gets in the way that to have that also be a problem where you're possibly late even though you left an hour early to get there on time is just insane. So we'll see how things go, but this is one of the few times where it looks like stuff is going in a pleasant or bright spot. And I really would not have expected it. But they're doing things that, like, I mentioned earlier, I stood up an employer versus last year where they stood me up 7 times collectively. And they still tried to interview me again. And, it's there's something behind the scenes that is causing this. And I'm trying to at least take advantage of it enough to get hired somewhere that I like, and then tell the other job I have to go to hell.